Welcome back, everybody. We are working on Excel exercise 4 today, and here we are focusing on using VLOOKUP. That refers to vertical lookup. Excel has a function where if you have a table, you can pick values from that table based on values that you have entered in different columns of your worksheet. So let's get started and see how we can work with that, and we shall end this with the section on pivot tables. So I've already entered the data into my Excel file, and I've already renamed the file as students. I've saved it. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and enter the data as is shown in the handout. The next thing we are supposed to do is rename the worksheet as books. Go ahead and rename that worksheet. And we are going to part C and D, which require us to assign transport and allowance for each of these different students. So we are going to go ahead and put headings for those. We shall call this heading here transport. And the next one is going to be allowance. Okay, so this is what we have, and we are going to use the VLOOKUP function to help us assign the transport for each of these students and the allowance for each of those students. Now, the way VLOOKUP works, it refers to a table. It looks up values from an existing table. So we are going to go ahead and put the tables on the side here, the tables that have the values that we want looked up on the side. So I'm going to put the first table on this side. This one is going to be the one for transport from Kampala. So I'll just give this table a heading. We'll call this one from Kampala. I'll call it transport from Kampala. Okay, that is the first table, and we shall put in the information as shown in the spreadsheet. We have 3 of the cities. We have Banda, we have Chireka, and we have Ntinda. And each of these cities has the transport value. For Banda is 1,000, for Chireka is 2,000, and for Ntinda is 1,500. Okay, so there we just put the heading so that we know exactly what this table refers to, and we now know that it is referring to transport from Kampala. I'm also going to put a table for the allowances, and we are also going to give this one a heading, and this one we have for males. I use the letter M, and females. Why am I using M and F instead of the full word males and females? Because in our table over here, this is what we've used. The gender is M and F. That's why I'm not writing here males, because the computer is going to be looking for something similar to what is in this table and refers to it in the table on the side. And we've been told that this is 5,000 for males and 6,000 for females. Okay, so that's what we have. We have these 2 tables that are reflected here. So let's go ahead and begin with the VLOOKUP function, and we are going to start with transport. So we are going to click in the cell where we want the transport assigned, and we start with the equal sign. And the function we are using is VLOOKUP. So we type VLOOK, and as you start typing the VLOOKUP, you will notice below that the lookup function is listed. So you're going to go ahead and make sure you don't make spelling mistakes. So there is VLOOKUP, and we open our bracket. And notice that the VLOOKUP also shows you the steps required to complete the VLOOKUP. So step 1, we are supposed to put the lookup value. What are we looking for? Remember, we are assigning transport based on the city. So we are going to click on the cell. This is the lookup value. That is what the computer or Excel is going to be looking for. That is the lookup value. You click, that is C2, and you put a comma. Next, it refers to the table array. Which table should the function use to assign a value? And we are going to use this table here for transport. Make sure you don't include the heading. We are only going to just include the data below the heading. So I'm going to start here below because you notice that this is hiding part of my table. But I'm going to start from the lower cell, and I make sure I select all the cells excluding the table heading. All I need is the data that is going to be used in the table. And after I select my data, it is important that we lock those cells. Remember what we used last time. We are going to use function 4. Press it once, and you will notice that the cell address now has $signs, meaning that even when you drag down, that cell is going to be locked, or that data that you highlighted is the only one that will be referred to. Okay, so that is the table we are going to use, and we are going to put a comma. Next, we are supposed to put the column index. Now, the way the VLOOK works, you always start the first index with the data that is going to be referred to. That is what is in column 1. So the cities in this case, Banda, Chireka, and Tinda, are in column 1. Anything that appears to the right, you just keep adding numbers. So in this case, the transport which we want to be assigned right now is showing up in column 2. Column 1, we have the city. Column 2, we have the values, the transport for each of the different cities from Kampala. So over here in our formula, when we are being told put the column index, we are going to put 2. Why? It is in column number 2 that the values we want are found. Okay? And then we are going to put another comma, meaning we are done with the column. And here we either put 1 for true, where we are putting an approximate match, and we put 0 for false, where we want an exact match. And in this exercise, we want an exact match, so we are going to use 0. And we are done with this. We have finished all the 4 things. We've already put the lookup value, the table, the column index, and finally the lookup range. And we are going to close our bracket, and we are done with the VLOOKUP, and we are going to press enter, and we are going to use the fill handle to drag this down, and there it has worked. Okay, so let's go ahead and assign allowance as follows. I'm just going to make a little change. Let me just go ahead with what is given in the exercise. We are supposed to assign allowance as follows: 5,000 for males and 6,000 for females. Again, we are going to do the same thing. We click in the cell where we want to place our allowance, and we start with the function is equal to VLOOKUP, and we open our bracket. And step 1, we are going to click on the VLOOKUP. What are we looking for? What cell are we looking for? In this case, allowance is being apportioned according to gender. So we are going to click on that cell which has the gender, and we put a comma. Which table are we going to work with? That's the table array. We are going to select the cells which have our data, and we are going to press the F4 key, function 4, to lock those cells, put a comma. Which column has the values which we want? In this case it's column 2. Remember I said column 1 is the one on the extreme left, column 2 is the one that follows, and that is why we're going to put column 2, and we put a comma, and we are going to put 0 because we want an exact match, and we close our bracket, and we are going to press the enter key, and we use the fill handle to complete that. So that is VLOOKUP. I hope you've learned how to use it, and you will be able to do the other practices, or you are able to use it also in your work or in the different areas where you need to put conditional values in different places. Someone may ask, why should I use VLOOKUP instead of if? Because the if function can do exactly what we've done. One advantage of the VLOOKUP is if you make a change, it is easy to update your changes, and you can clearly see where the change has been made. Let's say, for example, the allowances for male changed to, let's say, 6,500. Once you make the change in the corresponding table, automatically in the VLOOKUP schedule you will notice that the amounts have also changed. So that's one advantage of using VLOOKUP. You can clearly see, make changes, and you can use it in case you want to make analysis to see the effect of a change in one cell or the effect of a change in several cells. You are able to quickly see the impact of that change in the table in which you've used VLOOKUP. Okay, see you in the next session. Good day.